So this word inversely causes people a lot of trouble, but let's start off with just proportional. If we just say proportional, sometimes sometimes written as directly proportional, but essentially directly proportional and just proportional means the same. They mean the same thing. And you could write that as y, and then you have this weird symbol, looks something like that. And this is just another way of writing y is proportional to x. So y is directly proportional to x. So what does that mean? It means that if I were to double x, then y would double. Okay. So what does the inversely proportional mean? Inversely proportional is that it's basically y is proportional to the inverse of x, or 1 over x. So in this case, inversely proportional to root x, that would mean y is proportional to 1 over the square root of x. So that is what it means. Now in all of these cases, they can be rewritten like this. Oh, actually, let's just change that, do an arrow, and that can be rewritten as y is equal to some constant multiplied by x. This can be rewritten as y is equal to some constant divided by x, which means that this could be rewritten as y is equal to some constant over the square root of x. We don't know what that constant is. I'm just writing that constant there. So our question means that we can rewrite it as y is equal to k over the square root of x. And that means that for situation 1, this is true, and for situation 2, this is true. So, and we have some values for y and x, although they've tried to trick us or try to make it a bit tricky by putting a c there. But my suspicion is that as we work this out, the c will kind of go away somehow. So let's just put it all in. We'll do situation 1. We've got y is c. So instead of writing y, I'm going to write c. And then write the k there. And then the square root of 9. Well, the square root of 9 is just 3. So let's just write 3 straight off. And question 2, we've got y is equal to c minus 16. So c minus 16. And that's equal to k over the square root of 25, which is just 5. Okay, so what can we do from here? Well, we have a simultaneous equation. The way that I would probably deal with this simultaneous equation is I'd get equation 1 and multiply both sides by 3. So I end up with, and then just flip it around, we've got k is equal to 3c. Okay, so I multiplied both sides by 3, and then I just made k the subject, so I put it on the left. Same thing with equation 2, multiply both sides by 5, and flip it around, we've got this. So this is our new equation 1, this is our new equation 2, just rearranged, and they have k as the subject, which means they're both equal to each other. If k is equal to that and k is also equal to that, then that is equal to that. So 3c, let's drag and drop. So we got 3c is equal to 5c minus 16. Now we have a situation where we can actually simplify all this. Thinking about it, there might have been a quicker way now, but never mind, I'm going to keep going the way that I did it. So we've got 3c is equal to 5c minus 5 times 16, that would be 80. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to add 80 to both sides, and then I'm going to take away 3c from both sides. So, and I will put 80 over on the left-hand side just to make it a little bit easier to follow 2c. So therefore, c should be equal to 40 if I've not made any mistakes there. So we've now got c is equal to 40, and I know I've worked out earlier on that k is equal to 3 times c. So k is equal to 3 times 1. At this stage, you might be tempted in your exam just to write 120. Like I wrote 3 instead of writing root 9 here and 5 instead of root 25. But my instincts tell me to not write 120, because if I started to mess up and get confused, I might struggle to follow my working out. So I'm going to write 3 times 40 like that, because I think I'd be able to follow that more easily then. That means now I have an equation where I put that 120 back into the original equation up here, 120 over the square root of x. Now the moment of truth, whether or not this actually works. What we'll do after I've done all this, we'll redesign this question with some new values and see if you can do that. So we've got, well, let's say that we'll do 120 divided by the square root of 36. This time I am doing that there, and that's 120 over 6, looking promising. I think 120 over 6 is in fact 20. So that's correct. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink all this working out, move it to one side, and then I'm going to edit that question and see if you can do it the same, just like how I did it. Okay. And we'll just see if you can repeat the procedure of what I just did. So I've rewritten it slightly. Rather than show that blah, 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 I've just said find y in terms of x, which you had to do for the previous equation anyway, but I just haven't done the show that thing, because otherwise I'd have to work out what it would be, and it would just take too long. The hard bit is kind of up to here. And I've kept it similar. I've not made it any harder I've made x being square numbers, which will make the question a little bit easier. So let's have a go at that. I'll just pause the video and we'll see how we get on. Okay, so the answer ends up being, so I wrote an equal sign, but the answer ends up being this, because we can start off with saying this. It's still true that y is inversely proportional to x. I could have made this more complicated by doing, I don't know, 2 root x or root 2x or the cube root of x or something like this. But everything else, it would still pretty much be the same method. So we then just sub in the values for y and x. X is down here, so root 16. Same method as before, really. And then we make k the subject, so therefore 4c is equal to that. Expand it all out, rearrange it, we get a value for c. And then we use that value for c to work out our value for k, using this equation up here. And we put the 36 back into this equation for k, and this is our y in terms of x. Okay.